job. Fellow Toastmasters, guest. To be or not to be, that's good. Pathways gives us all a chance to give the icebreaker again. So I can remember standing in front of the group maybe 3-4 years ago when I gave the icebreaker, and I remember at that time there was just like so much anxiety going through my body. So this time I think it'll be better. The key is always preparation. So 53 years to cover here, so we could be here all day covering Douglas Page Schluter. So I decided to break it down into 3 stories. Story number 1 will deal with childhood, story number 2 will deal with college, and then we'll kind of do a day in the life of what's going on with Doug right now. So to go back in time to 1974, a few of us in the room were there back then. In 1974, my whole world revolved around Evel Knievel. Evel Knievel was the bomb. He was so cool in my mind. And really, if you think about it, back then, there probably wasn't a Saturday, maybe every other Saturday, Evel was on Wild World of Sports. It was just an incredible time. Now, my dad comes home from work one day, my hero, and he goes, Doug, we're going to go see Evel in Kansas City. Now, at this time, we live in a small town in Maryville, small town in Missouri called Maryville, Missouri. And Kansas City, kind of the big town. So we get saddled up. It's 2 months in the future. You know, there's a lot of anticipation. Half of anything is anticipation. So the big day comes, it's a Saturday, my dad and I drive down to Kansas City. We go to I-10 Motor Speedway. It was just unbelievable. We get there early, we're in the bleachers, my father and I, and we're just hanging. Then, out of the sky, there's a helicopter up there. It is unbelievable. Evel comes down in his helicopter, he lands on the Motor Speedway, he has his cape on, and he runs down the drag strip there. You know, my dad and I are together. Evel goes into his truck and he changes, and he comes out in his leather suit with his cape on, and he's doing wheelies up and down the Motor Speedway there. He gets on the ramp, he gives us a talk, and again, I'm hanging with my dad. Eventually, he jumps the 10 Mack trucks. It was just transforming. It was unbelievable. We drive back to Maryville. Of course, I get my bike. I fix my bike up. My dad and I build ramps. I'm jumping trash cans. Eventually, you guys aren't going to believe this, I'm able to do a wheelie. I don't know if I still can, but at that point I could do a wheelie over a block and a half long with my bike. Wow. I was just consumed with doing all this stuff. Story number 2. Off to college, University of North Texas. I go there, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I stay in the dorm. I don't join a fraternity, and I'm just kind of go through the first year of college, just blah. I go to the community center almost every night, and I play pool, and I'm by myself, and it's just quite a long year. And then I decide, hey, I'm going to join a fraternity. So I picked this fraternity, and it's kind of this cool house up on the hill. It's been there for probably 50, 60 years, pillars and everything. And you have to understand the situation. I've been shooting pool by myself, doing really nothing. I joined the fraternity, and I just get immersed in this situation. It absolutely changes my life. I learned how to work with people. I learned how to do projects. Over time, I become an officer in the fraternity, and really developed lifelong friends within the fraternity. The situation also, just to meet and say hello to girls, might have been a little bit better in the fraternity compared to the community center. Just saying. But it was really transforming. Skipping to current day situation, as many of you guys know from a speech that I gave maybe a couple years ago, Match.com, I met my wife on Match.com, so this is going on close to 5 years ago. We met on Match.com, so we got married 2 years ago, and we got married, we bought a house, all in the same week. So we do a day in the life of Doug Schluter right now. We have our house, we have our, I have my 15-year-old, 16-year-old stepdaughter in the house, and as I've told in other stories, kind of an interesting situation there, all's good. And also I have my 2 daughters, 12 and 11-year-old daughters that come to the house quite often. So we're always spending time at the house. A day in the life right now would start with a walk. I always walk my dog Blue in the morning when I'm home. We go for 2.5 miles every single day. We do the walk. Sometimes it's a walk slash a run situation. The other day he was getting kind of crazy. He was trying to lay down on me. I don't know what he was doing there, but all's good there. And then, you know, I work down in the basement when I'm at home, and Kristen, my wife, works at the kitchen table. So it's just a great situation. I always come up at 11:30 for lunch, pick up the girls at 5, my daughters. We have dinner together. That's kind of a day in life. And one kind of a side story, one thing I really like about Kristen is that we both love to travel. So we've been to Europe together, we've been all over the United States together, and that's just a great situation. And also we love music, so we go to a lot of concerts together. So we talked about a couple things today. We talked about Evel Knievel, we talked about college, we talked about a day in the life of Doug. So I really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much.